In March, Wells Fargo announced it would lay off 400 Central Iowa workers. The bank blamed declining workloads for the cuts, but Representative Cindy Axne says workers who contacted her office told her that those jobs were actually being moved to India. As a result, Axne is introducing a bill that would require publicly traded companies to report where their employees are located. And joining us now is Representative Axne. Thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Let's back up a little bit. First of all, did we find out whether or not Wells Fargo lied about outsourcing those jobs? Where does that stand?
So as you remember, during a hearing, I questioned former CEO Tim Sloan on the 400 jobs that were, people were laid off here in Iowa, as if were those jobs outsourced. He denied it. We have multiple folks who have come to us who have said that's not the case, and as a matter of fact, they were also having to train other people in India on the jobs that they lost. We are in the process of continuing to gather that information from Wells Fargo to find out exactly what get the clarity around this entire issue.
So do we have a timetable on that, when that might be? Do you think that investigation might be complete? Weeks, months?
I'd say within the next couple of months.
Okay, and then if we find out that, yes, Wells Fargo did lie, are there any repercussions for lying to Congress?
Absolutely, there would be repercussions for that, in particular with the people who could have received trade assistance when they were laid off if their job was outsourced. And that's first and foremost what we need to get after and make sure that those folks are whole, because they lost support as well as retraining for other jobs when they were laid off. If it was an outsourcing situation, they would have received that adjustment, and I want to make sure that those folks get made whole again. So that's going to be issue number one. Secondly, we'll absolutely need to look at the logistics around, the hearing and the former CEO's statements during its address to members of Congress.
So the bill would require publicly held companies to say where their workers are located, thus disincentivizing them from having jobs overseas, correct?
That's correct.
And so how would that all be tracked? How would this all be laid out?
So right now, companies do not have to lay out where they have employees either in the United States or in any other country. So we have no idea how many employees for any company are located in any state or our outlying company as well. And so this will, as you mentioned, disincentivize outsourcing folks, because they will have to put out an annual report showing where those employees are located. And certainly for investors and consumers who want to purchase from those businesses, it gives them an opportunity to, to see if they're really supporting the creation of American jobs and building the American economy. So we will be working with those public companies. So just so you know, it's only public companies who are, who have to register with the SEC that will be a part of this. This isn't private companies, small businesses, that type of thing. And it isn't all public companies. New public companies that are less than 5 years won't have to register to do it until 5 years, unless they're unless they make over $1 billion. So, for instance, a Facebook would have to do that.
Is there support for this on both sides of the aisle? Are you getting pushback?
So there's support, absolutely, on both sides of the aisle. There's always going to be pushback. There are some folks that say, well, this is just extra information that a company doesn't need to deliver. I would absolutely disagree with that. I can tell you I've worked for Fortune 1000 companies. I've worked for small businesses and the government. Every single one of those companies tracked their employees. They knew exactly where they were. You pay them on a regular basis. This is not information that's difficult to gather. So I think it's very easy to gather. So using that as an excuse is not something that I think will even, it doesn't have any merit.
Full disclosure for investors.